As our society continues to become more diverse, the ability to work towards equity and inclusion is critically important. Ensuring that everyone has the respect and economic opportunities will enable societies to thrive and be successful. Despite the increased conversation around these issues, as of today, few corporations and communities have managed to achieve a truly equitable environment. Frederick Russell-Rivoallan's work at UNESCO is helping to change this. Russ, you've spent your career working on diversity and inclusive projects around the world for different communities. What are some of the highlights of those projects you've worked on to date?
One of the major components of working for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization is understanding the other. And I think that's a major component of inclusivity and diversity. It's understanding yourself and understanding yourself in the context of the other.
And so, how does diversity and inclusion work together?
Diversity and inclusion go hand in hand. Diversity is the celebration of our different cultures, and inclusion is, in fact, understanding those different cultures. Working for the United Nations that has over 130 different countries with over 2,500 different people that are working there, you soon begin to realize that a person from Jamaica in Toronto is not necessarily the same type of mentality as a person from Jamaica. It's this understanding of the diversity, the celebration of that diversity is what I think diversity inclusion is all about.
Well, your work is focused on a society that is more inclusive and diverse. Can you explain the nuance?
We live in an increasingly global world, so the global village is increasingly smaller, and we are confronted or we encounter different people much more regularly and on a much more regular basis. This causes, on the one hand, instability, but it also causes curiosity on the other. And it's managing this sort of change. At UNESCO, we call it the management of social transformation, where we're getting the most out of society.
The pandemic has shifted a lot of societal behaviors when it comes to leaders trying to create a more inclusive and diverse environment. What should they be considering after a post pandemic world?
Well, I think during the pandemic, a lot changed. Working from home actually brought us into a teleworking environment that dramatically changed the office dynamic. People can be more productive working from home. You can actually get up early in the morning, do several hours of email, checking work records and things like that, throw in a load of laundry, go and grab the kids from school for lunch, and then come back and have 3 or 4 more hours of excellent productivity. We've heard that that there are policies where offices are mandating back to work rules and things like that. I think leaders have to understand that employees can work in a different environment and can be as productive, and companies can still do this. I also think that age discrimination has to be thought of in a different way. Both ageism towards elderly people and ageism towards younger people. Younger people don't have the same advantages that older people had entering into the workforce, and they have to stop being considered as interns the rest of their lives. So these are things that must be taken into consideration when thinking in a post-pandemic world. And the last thing I would think of is the environment within which people work. People working from home have different needs within their home than they did in a work environment. You need higher internet rates at home. You need a better access to electricity, telephone services. Those types of things need to be addressed as well.
A lot of leaders have team members working all over the world in different parts of the world. So, does this create some specific challenges that they need to consider and be aware of?
Increasingly, companies are becoming multinational and multilateral in their nature. Working at UNESCO in France, the headquarters was based in Paris, France. So the work environment in the headquarters was very French, contrary to the United Nations working in New York, which had a very American-style workforce. So working in the UNESCO office in Jakarta or working in the UNESCO office in Venice inherently have different work styles. And so headquarters has to take this into consideration. And headquarters also has to take into consideration local recruitment to the organization. People working for a company employed in the country where they live and working in the country they live is very different from working in the headquarters environment, being recruited from Toronto or something like that.